Hey guys, this is going to be another short repair video. I have had this Sunfire MK2 sub since '97, so about 20 years. I bought it and just loved it when I first heard it, and I haven't changed my mind on it since. It's kind of a unique design, especially when it was introduced. Very small size, but has very long throw woofers on it, so you get incredible sound in very small sized box, right? So just love the technology when it came out, and again, I still do. All right, so what was the issue? And this is something that I've had off and on with the box for various different reasons, and it's probably not that unusual for high power subwoofers, but I get a constant 60 hertz hum in the box. Also, when I unplugged it, it would give me a very loud pop, and I also didn't get any audio signal through it this time. So I've had other issues that sound almost identical to this problem, but they were definitely a different problem. So why did I fix it? Number one, I love the sound, and as we'll talk about in a bit, it made good financial sense. So a couple of things to try before you start cracking the case. Something I've used in the past is a cheater plug. I had a house that had kind of some funky grounding problems, and that fixed that problem for me at that house. It did not, however, fix problems in the house that I'm in now. So that's not always going to be the solution, and I'm not sure that that's a great solution in the first place. So there's probably better ways to do that, but you can at least track down where some of the source might be. The other thing to look for is a bad cable. Anything else that might be causing issues. Maybe you're too close to a light, fluorescent ballast or something like that. Or maybe your cabling goes past some fluorescent ballast. You could certainly pick up some hum there. One of the other things I've done in the past is to remove the caps of the controls on the back. And if you look here, the nuts that are connecting the pot to the amplifier plate can be removed, and then what I've done is scraped out the paint in the middle area on the amplifier plate and on the nuts. I've sanded the nuts just to make sure that there's really good metal to metal contact. That has worked in the past for me, however this time it did not work. So that's something you can try. Alright, so how do you open this box up? It's really quite simple. Just before you get in there, if you're not familiar with electronics and some of the dangers, you need to be aware that there are two capacitors in this box that can really ruin your day. As you can see here, I have measured 165 DC volts on that, and that'll really give you, it'll wake you up in a big way. Okay, so there's really 12 screws on the perimeter of the box that you have to remove to get this box open. They're not in super tight, but they are in tight enough to hold the plate secured well to the box itself. So when you take those 12 screws out, make sure you don't take any of the other screws out inside that perimeter. You really don't need to. That holds all the boards and transformers and that sort of stuff onto the amplifier plate itself. So don't mess with those. The other thing to be aware of is, you can't really see it too well in this picture, but there is a seal that goes all the way around the perimeter of the box. It's really important to make sure that seal is intact. If it does break, I just taped mine up when it did break, but you want to make sure you can put that back in place so that you maintain a solid seal on that box when the subwoofer is operating, because there's very high pressure levels inside the box. Okay, so that's it for the warnings. Just make sure you discharge just caps. So anyways, one of the things I read online was that sometimes the main capacitors do go bad. I think one of the telltale signs that you've got a bad cap is that it's swelled or maybe even burst, that sort of thing. When I looked at mine, they looked really pretty much brand new. Didn't look like there was anything wrong with them. Here's a little closer look at what that might look like. Anyways, when you replace these, just make sure that you're careful with this capacitor here. Mine actually ended up breaking the end, kind of broke off and just kind of crumbled away. So just be aware of that. So these are the new capacitors I purchased. There's the 1500 microfarad at 200 volt capacity on those, just like the originals. The one thing that is different is that I purchased capacitors that had a higher temperature rating. I don't know if that will give it longer life or not, but I thought I'd give it a shot. So anyways, these have 105 degrees centigrade, whereas the originals are at 85 degrees centigrade. So hopefully that'll make a difference in the long term. So anyways, as you can see here, my fix didn't work. So I decided that I didn't have the experience or the knowledge to really dig into one of these subwoofers. They're expensive enough to where I just didn't want to go messing around in there and break something else that might cost more later on. So I did some research online. There's some good options out there. I ended up going to Bill Flannery's Vintage Audio Repair. I was very satisfied with the service they gave me there. I was able to simply ship them the amplifier plate. They did the service and turned it right around, and I had it back within a week and a half or so. So that was fantastic. There was a lot of good communication between Bill and myself, and it just worked. When I got it back, I plugged it back into the machine or into the sub and sealed it back up, and off it went, and it sounded fantastic. There was no hum whatsoever, and that's how I remember it working when I first got it. So they did a bang-up job. Check them out, Flannery'sVintageAudio.com, and they'll take care of you right away. So I hope that helps. I didn't actually fix it. Flannery's did, and I'm glad they're out there because I love that sub.